IndyCar Series. Last year's winner, Johnny Rutherford, lines up his Chaparral against the Penske-powered machine of national driving champion Rick Mears and the Wildcat of Gordon Johncock, the man with the most wins at this 1-mile desert oval. And then, the peak. Sports World is IndyCar racing once again as we start another season with CART, Championship Auto Race Teams. We're just southwest of Phoenix, Arizona for the CART Phoenix 150. It was just 3 years ago at this very racetrack that CART began sanctioning races, and NBC was there. Since that time, it's been nothing but success. Success manifests in the fact that here today, for the 22 starting positions, there were a record 44 cars entered. And there's another kind of success, too. Of the 22 starters, all but 3 have major sponsorship, important dollars for these racing teams. NBC plans extensive coverage of IndyCar racing this year, not only here at Phoenix, but on April 25th, we'll be live from Atlanta, Georgia, for the Atlanta 200. And then we'll repeat our live coverage of the Michigan 500 in July. And we'll chase these IndyCars all the way through the season, ending up back here at Phoenix when we crown once again a national champion. Hi, I'm Paul Page. It was just 1 week ago that Bruce Jenner and I were with you at Anaheim Stadium for the Stadium Supercross. This time, Bruce, it's high-velocity, four-wheel driving with the championship auto race teams.
It certainly is, and it's going to be an interesting season. What's been happening all winter, as there has been an awful lot of what they call garage racing going on, rumors, talk, a lot of testing, brand-new cars being brought out onto the track. And what happens now is it's time for all that to stop, and these cars have to go on, and they have to prove themselves. In the front row, it's Rick Mears in a brand-new Penske-prepared machine, and he can drive that thing. In practice, he was awesome. Just outside him, Gordon Johncock in a brand-new car. This is the first opportunity we've had to see him, and Johncock has proved in the past that he knows this 1-mile track at Phoenix. Just on the inside, in row 2, a name that we're going to be hearing an awful lot from in the future because he's in a brand-new Penske-prepared machine. It's Kevin Cogan. Just outside him, Al Unser, again, a brand-new car. Our first opportunity to see it, and also Al Unser, a veteran driver in brand-new equipment, has proven in the past that he can win. In row 3, inside, Mario Andretti. A little bit disappointed in his qualifying, being in row 3, but it's again in a brand-new car, which he's developing, and he thinks maybe he has the kinks out, and he's going to be in there. Now, the only man out of the first 6 who is not driving a new vehicle is Johnny Rutherford in the Chaparral that we saw him with last year. That has been tested and modified for this year. But Rutherford, it's rumored that Jim Hall has a brand-new car for Johnny, and we'll probably be seeing that in the next few weeks. And right now, the garage racing stops. It's time for those cars to get on the track. No more talk. Let's see what they can do.
That's right, Bruce. They say in racing, there's an old saying that when the green drops, the talking stops, and the green is going to drop in just a few minutes on this Phoenix 150. And already at the start of the season, we have seen records broken because Rick Mears, the pole sitter, cracked the 150-mile-an-hour barrier here with his qualification run. And alongside Rick on the outside of the front row is the winningest driver here at Phoenix, the first CART winner here at Phoenix, Gordon Johncock. And Gary Gerald is now with both of those men. Gary?
Well, Paul, a wealth of experience here in this front row. As you indicated, record speeds already. Rick Mears through the 150-mile-per-hour barrier. But somewhat ironically, this is the only major racetrack that you have not produced a victory. And I suppose when you set a track record, that kind of spurs you, and you think that maybe this will be the day that you get that elusive victory for the Penske team here at PIR.
Well, it does definitely make you feel good, and, you know, but the race is a whole different story than qualifying. You've got to do it consistently and get out there and stay out of trouble and just get to the end of it. So you never know what's going to happen in a long race, but I think Gordy, he's going to be a handful, I'm sure. So we're just going to have a good time and get to the end of it.
It's always a very competitive racetrack. Gordon Johncock has won more races here than any other driver, 5 times a winner. Gord, it's got to make you feel good to be here in the front row and ready to charge for number 6.
Well, yes, it does. We really didn't think we were going to run this quick, but when we went out to qualify, we made a couple changes, and the car worked real well. And we made some more during the half-hour practice, and we feel a lot better about that.
We're looking forward to a great 150 miles of competition here at Phoenix. Let's go back upstairs to Paul Page and Bruce Jenner. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Let's look at some of the action in Saturday's qualifying. This was Tom SNEVA's car, as in 2 hours they changed the engine. SNEVA had serious difficulties and could not qualify. And then with the clock ticking away, just 1 minute to go in qualifying, crew chief George McNaughty said, "We're ready to go," and they started the car.
SNEVA went out with a fine performance, 145-mile-an-hour average speed lap, qualified him in 8th position. The crew in SNEVA with a fine performance.
Here's a view that we're testing on the A.B. Dick pacemaker, Bill Alsop's car. It's the onboard camera. We're setting it up today for our use of this camera in our live coverage of the Atlanta 200 on the 25th of April. There you see the field as they begin to pull away. Let's put some faces to the men that will be driving these Indy cars in the Kraco Kart 150. Rick Mears, the defending national champion, on the inside of the front row.
Gordon Johncock, car number 20, in his career has earned $1.9 million, 224 starts in a career of 27 years.
On the inside of the second row, the protege of Parnelli Jones taking his first ride for the Penske team, Kevin Cogan.
Outside, Al Unser, car number 10, 5-time winner here at Phoenix, but has not won an IndyCar race since the fall of 1979.
On the inside of the third row, the former world driving champion Mario Andretti, who is going back to driving Formula One cars this year.
Johnny Rutherford, car number 5, 1980 IndyCar champion and defending champion in this race, driving his Chaparral.
And young Jeff Brabham, the son of 3-time world driving champion Jack Brabham. He's last year's Can-Am champion in SCCA.
Tom SNEVA, car number 7, won 2 of the last 3 races here at Phoenix. In fact, one race came from all the way to the back of the pack to win. That's the 3rd time that's ever been done in Indy cars.
On the inside of the 5th row is Dennis Firestone, the 1980 Kart Rookie of the Year, the man that was involved in that serious accident here with Johnny Rutherford.
And Pancho Carter, coming off his best year ever last year, 3rd overall in the standings, with his first victory at the Michigan 500.
It's a terrific crowd here waiting the start of the 1982 Kart IndyCar season, the Phoenix 150. Let's take a look at the rest of the field. Notable in the remainder of the 22 cars, the handsome young Mexican Jose Legarza and Dick Ferguson, who is driving a car sponsored by the sponsor of this race. Also noteworthy, Roger Mears, the older brother of Rick Mears. He's driving the Machinist Union car. And Bill Alsop in car number 2 with our test camera on board sitting in the last row. Now the field comes around. The pole sitter, Rick Mears, Gordon Johncock just alongside. The field neatly aligned as they come around toward a green flag.
The start is very important as they're lining up, trying to get their position, watching that starter, waiting for that green flag to go. Gordon Johncock on the outside, Mears on the inside.
We wait for the start. The green flag is out, and they're racing in the Kraco Phoenix 150 as Gordon Johncock jumps out in front. Rick Mears drops in behind him. They head through the second turn, and now for the backstretch. Johncock down the backstretch. Mears chasing him. Mears was the faster man in practice, but Johncock can be very quick in the running, and he's out in front right now. Both cars carrying those extra small wings on the back of the car. They call it a biplane that many of the machines use at Phoenix. Al Unser has dropped into 3rd place. Johnny Rutherford in 4th. Johncock continues to lead. Lap 1 now complete.
I was surprised that Johncock took that early lead because Mears showed in practice that he does have the horsepower. I don't know if he just let him have it or what, but Johncock, very impressive. Now Mears is trying to move on his inside. He wants Johncock to know that he's there, and he's ready to make his move at any moment.
Johncock moving up high in the corners. It doesn't look, Bruce Jenner, like that machine is handling very well.
He seems to be going in a little bit right here as he's bringing the car in, but watch the car start to move to the outside right there. Mears' car seems to be handling very well. He's staying right in the line. Here comes Mears again, showing he has the horsepower. Trying to come in on the inside of Johncock, but Johncock closes the door on him.
Johncock shuts him down. Mears seems to have the power, and Johncock is sliding all over the race course to keep Mears behind him. It's a desperate job of driving by Johncock. Now Mears closing once again. Johncock in the first turn. Mears about 30 yards back. Has better acceleration than Johncock. Here as they come onto the backstretch now. It's Mears coming down to the low side, closing on the back end of Johncock's machine, begins to set him up, and Johncock under braking, outbrakes Mears, but gets high doing it, and Mears goes by into 1st place.
And as always, aggressive Rick Mears goes by our speed camera, 170 miles an hour plus. He did it to Gordon Johncock in turn 3. Paul, what happened? Johncock came in very hot, very fast. The car moved to the outside, out of the line, into the soft gravel, keeping the car under control. He just could not keep his speed. Mears just drove right by him on the inside.
And a tremendous interval now opened up between the Gould Charge at the hands of Rick Mears and that STP Wildcat of Gordon Johncock. Here comes Mears across the line, picking up 1 lap as the leader now. This car was absolutely awesome all during the practice. It is definitely the machine to catch. I think Johncock just simply got a very good start, but Johncock's car doesn't look like it's handling very well at all.
Here's now setting up high, getting ready to come down low into turn 3. And Paul, you might have noticed at the start of this race, there's another balloon right there. They let a lot of balloons out at the opening ceremonies, and again, they're all over the track. I don't know how much damage they can do to the car, but I know they're very distracting to the drivers.
No distractions for Rick Mears, though. His Penske PC-10, that's a brand new race car, is just flying around this course and beginning to outdistance the field. There's the battle for 4th place. Kevin Cogan is trying Johnny Rutherford on the inside. Can't get it done. Here comes the leader, Rick Mears, through. Look at the distance between him and the 2nd place car of Gordon Johncock. Al Unser closing at 3rd.
And Johnny Rutherford right behind him, but this is the story so far in this race. Rick Mears, his car, flawless. He is flawless. Doing some beautiful driving, staying right in that line as he moves through 2, down the backstretch and through the kink.
There's that battle for 4th place as Rick Mears' teammate Kevin Cogan tries Rutherford on the inside once again, but can't get it done. And Rick Mears coming up to our camera car. Here's the shot that Bill Alsop would see as Rick Mears simply flies by and rockets down the main stretch. It's a terrific view as that camera skims along the pavement. This is probably the last shot we'll see. It's an experiment here at Phoenix as our technicians work to perfect it. It's been done in stock cars, but in an Indy car it has to be less than 10 pounds. And we'll be back to the Phoenix 150 as Sports World continues. Continues to lead, but a tremendous fight has now developed for 4th place. That's Johnny Rutherford in the number 5 yellow machine, and right behind him the number 4 car of Kevin Cogan. Now Cogan closed in on Rutherford just seconds ago and begins to take up that challenge once again. Here comes Cogan as he darts down toward the inside, tries to power past Rutherford, heads for the first turn, and Cogan closes in. Also, Tom SNEVA moves into this battle, as well as Mario Andretti, and that battle for 4th place between 4 different cars strings past Bill Alsop. Now Cogan and SNEVA battling for 5th as Rutherford sits comfortably in 4th place.
But there's no battle for 1st place because Rick Mears is out in front of the pack, just dominating this race. As they come around, there's Rutherford. Cogan right behind him. They're battling for that 4th place position. SNEVA and then Andretti.
In 2nd place at the moment is Gordon Johncock. Al Unser sits in 3rd, and there goes Cogan as he sails past on the inside of Rutherford. Now Rutherford has to contend with Kevin Cogan, and he does. Look at Rutherford as he outbreaks Cogan. Comes up behind Al Unser, but then is forced back. He's sitting in too high a line. That's Tom SNEVA down on the inside as SNEVA swings to the outside and cuts off Rutherford. Now watching as they head down to the 1st turn. Andretti goes low, SNEVA goes low, and SNEVA picks up 4th place. Cogan in 5th, Rutherford in 6th.
And now SNEVA making his move on 3rd place, Al Unser. And SNEVA, boy, we've seen him in the past make that move on the high side of the racetrack through that traffic. And now Mears moving up on slower traffic. Howdy Holmes as Holmes is checking his mirror.
Oh, as Mears almost runs into Holmes. Holmes coming just a little bit high. Howdy Holmes in one of the brand new March cars as Mears continues to lead, but the battle 2nd through 10th. You could throw a blanket over that. Here they come down the stretch again as SNEVA makes a move on Al Unser on the inside, and Al begins to show a bit of smoke at the back of his machine. Then it's SNEVA, Cogan, Rutherford, and Andretti all right together on the track, but Unser might be in trouble. A bit of smoke showing at the back of his race car. Now there is Rutherford handling a little bit better than Andretti as he comes and closes up behind Kevin Cogan, and Andretti comes down low on the inside.
And Andretti's making his move on the inside, challenging Rutherford for 6th place, and it's Mario Andretti as it goes into turn 1 in 6th place.
But they drive through a cloud of smoke that is beginning to pour off the back of Al Unser's car. Andretti screams away from Rutherford. Rutherford slowing a bit. And now everyone stringing past Al Unser as SNEVA moves into 3rd place. Kevin Cogan follows him. Mario Andretti moves around Al Unser as they come onto the main straightaway, and Al Unser is in trouble and turning down toward the pits.
And this is the first opportunity we've had to see this Longhorn 3, a brand new race car, the first time on the track, into the pits with an unscheduled pit stop. There's a little bit of discoloration on the back of the car on the fiberglass housing and a little bit of fire. They're throwing some water on it. Let's go down to Gary.
Problem for Al Unser, a bit of flame we see off the back end of the car. The crew dumped some water. They're going to make a tire change. Something obviously very, very hot back in the motor compartment of this brand new Longhorn. Al sitting here meanwhile revving the engine as they make the change of rubber on the back. The crew checking the wear on the tires at this time. Meanwhile, smoke continuing to pour off the backside of the car. It looks like they intend to take him down off the jacks and possibly get him back in the race. We're just having to hang on and wait and see. Now one of the kart inspectors and officials is checking in with the crew. They may not be able to send Unser back out. We'll just hang on. They continue to work back on the right side. It's still obviously very, very hot. Now we see more water being poured. The car comes down off the jacks. The indication to go. Al Unser has the Longhorn back in competition after a lengthy stop on green.
And Rick Mears still out in front, but Gary Gerald, normally when you see smoke at the back of a car, if it's a light blue, it means oil. This is more of a white smoke, plus that discoloration. There's something burning inside Al Unser's car. Rick Mears continues to dominate this race. He has more than a 10-second lead now, but the fight is beginning to close on second place as Tom SNEVA tries Gordon Johncock on the inside and then has to slow down just a bit because Scott Brayton, one of the back markers, sitting in front of him. Now, SNEVA begins to charge once again. Kevin Cogan is right behind him, and look at Cogan skate just a bit as the car comes over a little bump that there is in the fourth turn. Rick Mears comes around Bill Alsop, who is a back marker also. That's the second time that he's put a lap down on Bill Alsop. Rick Mears, that machine is unbelievable. Al Unser, the Longhorn 3, a brand new race car, coming into the pits once again, and the discoloration getting more severe at the back of the car. Serious problems for Al Unser. Gary Gerald is there and has the reports.
Once again, Al Unser back on the pitch. You can see the buckets of water, ice being thrown on the back end of the car. Apparently part of the bodywork on the new Longhorn has been on fire. They don't know what's prompted the problem. They didn't think it was in the engine compartment, but obviously when they were in the pits the first time, they did not get the fire extinguished. So now Al is out of the car. The crew will pop the cowling back here around the engine compartment and try to get this small smoldering blaze extinguished.
Disappointment there for car owner Bobby Hillen as he and Al Unser struggling once again with a brand new machine, and it's not working right today. Now the battle for second place as SNEVA moves past Johncock, and Cogan also challenging Johncock, but Cogan has to drop back. Johncock now in third place, Cogan in fourth as Tom SNEVA moves up into second place, and Mario Andretti closes in on this fight, sitting back in fifth, but the leader still way out in front. Rick Mears, car number 1, a Penske PC-10.
A beautiful move by Tom SNEVA there to move up into second place. He seems to have the horsepower. He's been struggling all week without getting the boost. Maybe he'll make his move now and move up on Mears.
Mears, 10.5 seconds out in front in sixth place. Johnny Rutherford, an engine change overnight for that car number 5. The new second place occupier, Tom SNEVA. Al Unser, out of the car, out of the race, is with Gary.
Well, Al, I don't know if you call it new car blues or what it is, but it's got to be tremendously frustrating. The problem appeared to be in some bodywork burning.
Well, there was something that came loose and caused a fire inside, and that's what it burned some things up, but something happened, and I don't know what yet until they check it over.
Kind of a step backwards after it looked like you'd taken a positive step forward and qualified a brand new car very well.
Yeah, this is the thing about new race cars that you got to work out, and you know, sometimes you hit it and sometimes you don't, and it's going to be a good race car. It just needs some time.
We're looking forward to seeing you on the bigger track on the banks down at Atlanta, Al.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Al Unser out of the race in the early going. Rick Mears still a 10.5 second lead over the second place car number 7 of Tom SNEVA. In third place is Gordon Johncock in number 20, but his teammate Mario Andretti has begun to close and challenge Johncock for second.
Well, a point to be made here is that now Rick Mears is head of development for the Penske team. No more Bobby Unser. Now he tests and develops these cars. And it's showing you as this car is working flawlessly that Rick Mears is really developing himself as a mature overall racer.
A superb job by Rick Mears as he leads the Phoenix 150. And we'll be back with more when we're back at the car Phoenix 150, where car number 1, Rick Mears, is out in front at 10.5 second lead. Pancho Carter is right behind him on the race cars, but down in the standings. In second place is Tom SNEVA in the number 7 Texaco Star. Sitting back in third place right now is Mario Andretti, and he is being chased closely by the Norton Spirit of Kevin Cogan. Sitting back behind them in fifth place is Gordon Johncock in car number 20, who is handling very poorly today. He really has a fight with that race car.
But Rick Mears races, starting off this year very impressively, just about the way he finished off last year. Now, if he continues to go this way all the way through the season, he is going to be very tough to beat. Next time we have an opportunity to see him is in just a few weeks, April 25th, live from Atlanta. Be interesting to see what he does down there.
The yellow light is on. The caution flag flies from the starter's stand. Report of debris on the race course, but the time is perfect for the crews to come in and service those machines. As Bobby Rahal heads in, so does Jeff Brabham, and there's our leader, Rick Mears, heading down into the pit area for some fast service from that Penske crew.
And remember, this is the same crew last year who was badly burned at Indy. Bill Murphy still handling the fuel. And look at how deliberately and safely he puts that fuel in as they take rubber on the right side. Also, Tom SNEVA's car is in second place as he again takes fuel and tires.
The two right side tires being changed on Rick Mears' car. Now the crew pushes them away, but the car's not running well. The engine falters a bit. The crew continues to try. Now Mears trying to get the revs up in that turbo to develop power in the engine. He finally does it. Spins the rear wheels. Slides the car just a bit, and Rick Mears is away. Let's go to Gary.
Here's Gordie Johncock sliding to a stop in his STP number 20, a brand new race car. Johncock, for him, this may be a fortuitous turn of events. The yellow flag because his crew was ready to bring him in. The yellow now means that he won't lose a lap. However, they may have stalled the motor. They have. They've stalled the motor. Johncock will not be able to get back out immediately, and now this becomes a critical pit stop. It looked like he might be getting a good break as far as Dame Fortune is concerned, but now he has a new problem. They get the engine refired, and Johncock now pulls away. He'll be desperately trying to get out there and catch the pack without losing a lap.
Meanwhile, on the other side of this two-tier field, the Patrick team finishing service now for Johncock's teammate, Mario Andretti. Mario also with the tire change, new load of fuel, and his brand new Wildcat 8 pulls out. A problem also developing for Kevin Cogan.
Andretti pulls away, but Cogan's car stutters to a stop in the pits. We go back to Gary. Gary?
Well, the crew had to come scrambling down into the Patrick pits. You can see now they have pushed the car back to its normal stop. This is a yellow flag stop, so of course there's some advantage in that respect, but they must be careful. They have to get refired immediately so that young Kevin Cogan does not lose a lap to the leaders. It appears that problem will be all right. He is now back on course.
Cogan back out of the pits, but Bobby Rahal's got a problem. They're running toward his car. Peter Parrott dumps a bucket of water on the car, and Roger Penske tries to push it to get going, but there's a fire on Bobby Rahal's car. Now help is there, and they are ready to handle it. The fire appears to be already out, but Bobby Rahal climbed out of that car mighty quick. The field is still under yellow here at Phoenix International Raceway. As they battle the pace car, we'll take a short timeout. We'll be back. Number one with Rick Mears at the wheel. He is leading this race once again, and he is well out in front of the second place car. Mears' machine has handled just perfectly all day as he screams down that main stretch. In second place is the number 40 machine of Mario Andretti, but Rick Mears is well out in front. There's a crash. A car against the wall. A wheel bouncing across the track. A wreck in turn 4.
Paul, it's Dick Ferguson. He came out of turn 4, put it right up against the wall, immediately jumped out of the car to stay out of trouble in case of fire or anything, but seems to be all right, but it's disgusting. A tough break for Dick Ferguson.
Ferguson appeared to get high coming off of the fourth turn up into the gray area of the racetrack, slammed the wall, chopped off the right rear. Now he looks over that car, but he's not very happy with the way his day's finished.
Well, what happened is he got up into what the racers call the marbles. That's just the outside of the track. These cars have been going around this track for so long now that little bits of rubber have broken off the tire, got outside the line, pushed high up into the track, and when the driver goes up there, it's like driving on marbles, and it's very slippery.
Steve Edwards and the safety crew waves the field pass. Now Dick Ferguson is down with Gary.
Well, after a quick word with his crew chief, half happened, and Dick Ferguson out of the Kraco car is back down here. You appear to be okay. Can you tell us what happened, Dick?
Yeah, Gary, I'm all right. It's just got a wheel up in the gray stuff after coming in and making a tire change, and just couldn't hang on to it. You know, it got up high, and she wouldn't come back down. That's all. Just brushed the wall with it.
I know that this has to be a big disappointment because your sponsor, of course, is backing this race. It's a new opportunity for you this season, not the way to get started that you'd hoped to, I know.
Well, you know, that's racing. We wound up the year real great here, and we're starting off real bad, so we'll go down to the next race and start over again.
We'll see you in Atlanta and hope it's a lot better.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
So Dick Ferguson ends his race against the wall. He had a good ride going to that point. Well, we'll be back with more back at the Phoenix 150. And Rick Meaas is still out in front as he drops inside Tony Bettenhausen, and Chip Maiden screams down that main straightaway once again. It's been a terrific performance by Meaas. Now, though, here is the battle. The second place fight. Andretti in second. Right behind him is Tom SNEVA. And SNEVA has been in Andretti's mirrors for the past several laps. Now, SNEVA magnificently up on the high side and just drives around Andretti. What a pass!
A beautiful pass on the high side. That's a little bit risky now. Andretti's trying to get him back on the inside in turn 3, but Tom SNEVA shuts the door on him. Stays a little bit high. Maybe Andretti can sneak under. Nope, he's not going to quite do it. It looks like Tom SNEVA's got his car working.
SNEVA's in second. Cogan is sitting in fourth place. And while everything appears to be going well for Rick Meaas, we have a report that Johnny Rutherford has a new and unusual problem. Here's Gary.
An interesting note here in the Rutherford pit. We've just learned that Rutherford somehow lost his helmet strap. We don't know if he neglected to have it on at the start of the race or if it somehow came loose. He doesn't have one. They were just showing one of the crew members how to try to help him get it on should he make the next pit stop. It's not a major issue, but certainly when you're diving into these corners at this tremendous speed, there's a lot of extra load force on the neck muscles, and Johnny Rutherford's got to be feeling it right now.
Well, let's slow Johnny Rutherford down from his usual 170-mile-an-hour straightaway speed. Look at his head as it moves back and forth in the cockpit. Now, Johnny last year did some special exercises to build up his neck muscles. Maybe it'll pay off for him today. Well, Rick Meaas continues his lead. Let's go to Palm Springs, where Don Criqui has this report on the Dinah Shore Golf Championship. 50. Rick Meaas is our leader, but his pit crew is ready as Rick Meaas now heads down the pit road and is ready for service. Gary?
Well, sliding down pit road right now. This should be his final stop of the afternoon if all goes well. The man who's dominated this event thus far, defending national champion Rick Meaas and the Penske crew over the wall. Typical, beautiful fashion now. Penske kneeling beside us here, giving the indication to Meaas. His eyes riveted in this direction now as he awaits the command to get back in competition. A bit of flame out of the exhaust on the backside. Now there's definitely a problem here. They blow it out. It came out of one of the brake cooling vents, and Meaas slides back onto the course.
Tom SNEVA, the second place car, in for a stop. He starts the front end off the ground. SNEVA tries to pull away. Bruce, something's wrong.
They don't know exactly what it is. They're going to try to push it back into place, try to get it back into his pit area and see what it is.
It looked like the front end was off the ground. Mario Andretti, the yellow flag is out. He slows. The report is debris. Andretti, our current leader. But under the yellow flag now, here comes Andretti into the pits. But Gary Gerald, there's a problem with SNEVA. Get down there. See if you can find out what it is.
We're on the way.
All right, right now, Mario Andretti is in the pits. You know, in all the racing that I've seen, there's been more problems in the pits than any other place. The drivers try to stay out of there, as you can see. Look at all the people around Andretti, getting fuel, tires. A lot of things can go wrong. But this pit stop seems to be clean, as Mario Andretti, in that typical style of his, hot puts it out of the pits. But at this point, Kevin Cogan has the lead for the first time in this race.
And there is frantic activity continuing in SNEVA's pit. Gary Gerald's there.
Well, a very concerned crew watching Tom SNEVA as he sits here. And, of course, everything out of his control right now. He came sliding in on the pit stop, locks it up. Obviously a problem underneath the nose wing now. The kart observers and officials closely scrutinizing this activity. We have 4 men literally crawling over and under the nose of this Texaco star. And SNEVA, who had problems yesterday, qualified so dramatically, had made a charge up to second place today. Looked like he might become a factor. Will have no opportunity to win a second straight race now at Phoenix International Raceway.
Well, Gary, when SNEVA started to pull away, the car lurched up in the air. It looked like the jack was stuck down. Now he stalled the engine. So SNEVA's had some very serious problems. Here's our leader, Kevin Cogan, as he heads down into the pits, and he'll receive some service from that Penske pit crew. Car number 4, the Norton Spirit, in the lead right now, pulling in for service.
In his first pit stop, he had problems. He stalled it on the way out. They are going to give him rubber on the outside. fuel. He's going to be able to make the stretch to the finish line. After this pit stop, he should have no more stops.
Gordon Johncock comes in for service as Cogan is down off the jacks. They're waiting to get just the extra amount of fuel necessary to go to the finish into that car. Now the lines are clear. Cogan starts to pull away. The motor stutters just a bit, but he keeps it going and heads out of the pits, and Scott Brayton is now out of the pits. So the car is heading back to speed after their stops. Tom SNEVA had his problems. Now Gary has the story.
Here's Mike Reed in the SNEVA pit. Mike, it was a problem with one of the air jacks, I understand.
Yeah, it hung in a down position. It hung in a down position, and it wouldn't retract. We had to saw it up with a hacksaw.
Well, it really hurts at this point.
Well, yeah, we were in contention until then. We were catching mirrors, but we only had 42 inches of boost, and we cranked some more boost into it, so just one of those things.
Well, that long stop has dropped Tom SNEVA out of the top 10. The lead is back in the hands of Rick Mears. We're under the yellow here at Phoenix, so let's take time out from the race to see what was making sport, Gerald, and we're back at the Phoenix 150, where Rick Mears in car number 1 continues to lead this race. Right in front of him, but one lap down is Pancho Carter holding on to 5th place. Carter with a brand new race car that's running smoothly today, despite the fact that it's just 2 weeks out of the box. And Rick Mears, no problems at all on that car. There's the second place car of Mario Andretti, a Wildcat 8, and it's running smoothly. But we have a report that this car, the 55 machine of Jose Garza, has been running rough. Garza cuts to the inside. A bit of smoke showing at the back of the engine. Now as he lets off the throttle, it really begins to pour smoke. Rick Mears still out in front. The indications are that Garza will be heading down into the pit area. Garza was in 6th place. There he goes down into the pits. The engine was running very rough for the past few laps. Now let's go down to the pits. Gary Gerald is there waiting for Garza to break to a stop. Gary?
Yeah, Jose Garza coming in for what should be a final stop of this afternoon, and the motor has just died. The motor has died. We don't know what the problem was. He pointed back over his shoulder at one time. We just had the conversation with Bobby Unser. It indicated that they didn't think it was a serious problem, but now obviously there is some major difficulty. You can see the cowling coming off the top. This may be the end of the afternoon as far as Jose Garza's driving is concerned.
Well, Garza not having great luck at Phoenix International. It was last year at this same race, you saw it on NBC Sports World, that he crashed the car on the second lap. Now the engine causing problems for him. No problem for Rick Mears. He continues to sail around this race course. Mario Andretti half a lap back in 2nd place. Kevin Cogan is 3rd. Let's go back down to the Garza pits for that further story. Here's Gary Gerald.
Well, Jose, you end up just about 20 laps short. You got a lot of time in this racetrack today, and I suppose you have to feel good about the way you were able to work in the traffic. You had some great battles with Rutherford, Andretti, and several of the top names.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, I feel very bad because I couldn't finish the race. I had some trouble with the car ever since the last yellow lap, but it really looks like it's going to be a good season. I got to feel happy because Bobby has been doing a hell of a job. The car handles superbly. I think I can run with the best of them.
Well, we're looking forward. There are a lot more events in this season. We're going to be with you down at Atlanta in just a few weeks.
Thank you very much.
Jose Garza out of the race. He has a new team manager, the teammate to this man from last year, Bobby Unser, now running the Garza team for him. There goes Rick Mears, our leader, around Scott Brayton with Pancho Carter right behind him. Unser has really been showing Garza the fast way around the race course. Now Gary Gerald moves over and is ready to talk with Bobby Unser. Gary?
Bobby, this has to be, I guess, a first for you today. You're on this side of the pit wall. You're not out there where you've won so many times. What has this feeling been like?
Well, it was a good feeling. I was really extremely proud of Jose and the crew. That's the first time that this crew's ever done a pit stop was today, and they did the first one in about 15 seconds. And they just, the whole crew did a beautiful job, and I was very happy with that. And Jose did way better than I thought he would do. He really should have been running about 3rd place today, and I thought that was extremely good. I think the boy should be proud of what he did today.
Looks like there's a very bright future for this group then.
Well, the mechanics did a good job. The car worked good, and he did a good thinking job, and that's a lot to do with racing, and I'm very happy with it.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Well, Gary, the yellow flag is out once again.
And what happened is Tony Bettenhausen simply ran out of fuel on the race course, and they're going to have to tow him off the track, Paul.
All right, now take a look at this. Rick Mears, number 1 in front. His teammate, number 4, is right behind him, 1 lap down in third. And Andretti, in number 40, is in second place. So Andretti will have to drive around Cogan to get up and take a shot at the leader, Rick Mears. Rick Mears, car number 1, out in front at this moment. With less than 10 laps to go, we're under the yellow. Let's go back to Palm Springs and Don Cricky for more on the Dinah Shore Golf Tournament. 50, anticipating a green flag momentarily. Now remember, that's Rick Mears out in front. There's the second place car of Mario Andretti. And Andretti will have to do battle with Rick Mears' teammate, Kevin Cogan, who sits between Mears and Andretti. If Andretti's going to do battle for the lead, the green flag is out. They scream down toward the first turn. It's Mears, then Cogan, then Andretti. So Andretti now has to get out and get around Cogan so he can do battle with Mears.
But his work is cut out for him. Rick Mears' car is still working beautifully. As you can see, nobody's coming up on him. Kevin Cogan, you know, we haven't said much about Kevin today. What a beautiful job, a real thinking job that he's done out there. He's got a new car on a new team with a lot of pressure. All of a sudden, he's getting a lot of publicity, and he seems to be responding.
Rick Mears out in front and pulls away from that field. Now watch as Andretti tries. Cogan moving just smoothly on the course himself. He's not trying to interfere with Andretti, but Andretti has the obligation to pass cleanly and safely, and that's what he's trying to do. It doesn't seem like anything could go wrong for Mears, but we do have a report that Mears might be running out of fuel. They used every drop of fuel in the tank on the last stop for Rick Mears, so he could come to a stop before this race is over. Gary, what have you heard?
We had one earlier report, Paul, that Roger Penske had asked Mears to dial down the boost in an effort to conserve fuel, but certainly down here there is no obvious or apparent concern at this time.
Andretti continues his charge in second place, but Rick Mears is way out in front as he now heads for victory. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Here in the background, Dina Mears, Mrs. Penske, keeping an eye along with the Penske crew on Rick Mears, trying to break this long, long drought. A Penske team has never won here at Phoenix International Raceway, the only major track where Rick Mears has never won, and he's now less than a half lap away.
Rick Mears, the Gould Charge, car number 1, coming around the last turn. He could coast to victory now. Rick Mears across the line, and Rick Mears has won the CART Phoenix 150. A superlative ride today, the brand new car, the Penske PC-10. There's Jay Signori, the chief mechanic Peter Parrott, and the rest of the crew, Bill Murphy, all the Penske team. They're happy. They finally won with Rick Mears at Phoenix.
Quite a performance, Paul, by Rick Mears and that crew. That car was absolutely flawless for 150 miles. It completely dominated this weekend. Came out and qualified, broke the 150-mile-an-hour barrier, and just took this race and led right from the beginning. Mario Andretti, what a fine performance. As Mears and the rest of the group come into the pits, you know, a lot of times wearing that number 1, it can be a little bit tough, a little bit of a curse, because everybody's out there shooting for you. But if we have any indication today of what's going to happen the rest of the season, Rick Mears is going to be really tough.
Well, Bruce, I'm not sure that Rick Mears knows where he's supposed to be. Victory Circle is out on the main straightaway, but Jim Herring, our handheld cameraman that brought you many of these fine pictures today, and Gary Gerald and the crew has had to run down through the pits. Crowd's not even sure what's going on because Rick is not where he's supposed to be. There's an empty Victory Circle that they start to close off now, but there's no race car there, and certainly not Rick Mears. He's sitting over on pit lane.
Hey, Rick, twice to stay in, you gotta go onto the main street. Okay. Oh, you gotta push them. Pushing them. Get back. All right. Get up there. Get that hug.
We've never won here before. I didn't know where to go.
Can we push the car around?
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right. Yeah. Oh, God.
Rick, the obvious question is you're on the wrong side of the pit wall. I think I heard you say you never won here. You didn't know where to go.
Yeah, we never have, so I didn't know where I was supposed to be.
Well, we were all surprised. There's a big reception waiting for you on the other side of the wall over there. I know this has got to be a super big one. The only racetrack where you hadn't produced a victory, the first one for the Penske team.
Yes, it was. It was really, it's exciting. Just the first one of the year with a brand new car and everything. The guys just did a hell of a job, and like I say, Penske never won one here, and it was quite a thrill for all of us.
Did you kind of take a gulp there when the yellow flag came out with about 8 laps to go?
Yes, I did. I was wondering, I know Mario's tough on those restarts, and I was waiting for him to be right up beside me anytime.
Well, the defending national champion starts a new season in spectacular fashion. Congratulations from Sports World.
Thank you very much.
Well, Kevin Cogan may have helped just a bit on that restart, helping hold Andretti back and keep him in second place. An amazing team, this Penske organization. The past 39 races they've started over the last 3 years, they have won 23 of those events with their cars. Here's the official order of finish. In 5th place, Gordon Johncock. Johnny Rutherford came in 4th. Kevin Cogan in 3rd, Mario Andretti 2nd, and our winner, Rick Mears. A terrific day for the young Californian from Bakersfield. And we look forward to our coverage of the Atlanta 200 live on the 25th of April when Bruce Jenner, the Penske PC-10, and Rick Mears will definitely be the people to beat.
They're going to be something to watch. And, Paul, it's been a pleasure working with you. Looking forward to Atlanta.
So congratulations from NBC Sports World to Rick Mears. For Gary Gerald and Bruce Jenner, this is Paul Page. So long from Phoenix.